Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, well, we're tackling a really big name, George Soros. You hear that name, and it often sparks some strong reactions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Financial wizard, philosophical thinker, huge global philanthropist.
Absolutely. He's incredibly complex. His life spans almost a century of massive global shifts, and his impact on finance, on society, it's undeniable.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack that journey. We've done a deep dive into the sources, and we want to give you the key takeaways, a clear, nuanced look.
Yeah, we'll explore his pretty surprising origins in Hungary, dive into the financial theories that's key that guided his, well, extraordinary career.
And we'll look at those famous market moments, the wins and the losses, plus the huge philanthropic work that defines so much of his public image now.
And of course, we have to touch on the controversies too. It all comes with the territory for someone this influential.
Right. So get ready. We're going to explore how this one person, shaped by really profound historical events, ended up influencing global markets and ideas about open societies. Let's get started. So the story really kicks off in Budapest, Hungary, August 12, 1930. György Schwartz is born into a non-observant Jewish family.
And this isn't just, background info, it's fundamental.
How so?
Well, the really formative part is his survival during World War II, under the Nazis. He and his family used false documents to escape persecution.
Wow. I mean, imagine living through that as a teenager.
Exactly. It wasn't just surviving an ordeal. It forged someone who deeply understood how fragile societies can be, the power of perception, the constant threats to open societies, ideas he clearly carried forward.
You can definitely see how that would stick with you. So after the war, 1947, he makes his way to London.
Right, and that's where his intellectual journey really takes shape. At the London School of Economics, the LSE.
He got his bachelor's there in 51, master's in 54. But beyond the degrees, what was the really big intellectual spark there?
That would be the philosopher Karl Popper. Popper's ideas, particularly about open societies and fallibility, the idea that we can always be wrong, became absolutely central for Soros.
More than just academics, then.
Oh, much more. It gave him a framework. Popper taught that our understanding is always imperfect, our perceptions are flawed, and reality itself is kind of shaped by those flawed perceptions.
That's a pretty radical idea compared to traditional economics, right?
Definitely. It set him apart, even as he started moving into the world of finance. It's this intellectual foundation that's so unique.
Okay, so finance. His first steps were actually back in London, 1954. Singer and Friedlander.
In their arbitration department.
So what exactly did that involve?
Basically, finding tiny price differences for the same asset in different markets and exploiting them. Meticulous work, great training for spotting inefficiencies, finding hidden value.
Good grounding. Then, 1956, he crosses the Atlantic to New York.
Yep. Works at FM Mayer as a trader arbitrager. He was focusing on European securities then.
So applying those arbitrage skills internationally.
Exactly. Buying low in one market, selling high in another, almost instantly. Honing his eye for those cross-border imbalances.
And then, 1959, Wertheim & Co. This seems like a key period.
It was. Because that's where he really started formulating his big idea, the theory of reflexivity. The philosophical seeds were planted, and now he was getting the practical market experience to, well, make it bloom.
Right, the theory that would become his sort of guiding principle, but he needed a way to actually use it, right? A vehicle.
Precisely. And that takes us to his time at Arnhold and S. Bleckroeder. He became vice president there from 63 to 73.
And this is where he started putting his own money on the line?
Well, his own ideas, certainly. He began experimenting, using about US $100,000 of the firm's capital alongside some of his own. This was his laboratory, really, testing his unique insights in the real world.
Those early experiments must have been crucial for building confidence.
No doubt. And by 1969, he was ready for the next big move. He created the Double Eagle Fund, backed by the firm.
And put his own skin in the game?
He did. US $250,000 of his own money, showing real belief. And that fund, Double Eagle, he later rebranded it.
Is the Quantum Fund.
The Quantum Fund, the name everyone associates with him. Then, in 1970, he founded Soros Fund Management, which became the Quantum Fund's home. By 73, it was managing, US $12 million?
Respectable, but just the beginning.
Oh yeah, just the beginning.
Yeah.
Because then came the explosive growth.
Absolutely, with Jim Rogers playing a key role, too.
Instrumental. They reinvested returns, reinvested commissions, just fueled this incredible expansion. By 1981, the fund hit US $400 million.
Astonishing growth. But not without bumps, I gather?
No, definitely not. There was a big loss in '81, about 22%, which, highlights the risks involved in his strategy, but the overall trajectory was just relentlessly upward for decades.
Became one of the most profitable funds ever. It shows that commitment to a long-term vision, even through tough patches.
And that commitment, that vision, it all circles back to the core philosophy, doesn't it? His theory of reflexivity.
It really does. So let's unpack that theory, because it's what makes Soros, not just a strategy, but a whole worldview, heavily influenced by Popper. What's the core idea?
The core idea is pretty radical for economics. It says that people in the market aren't just passive observers of some objective reality.
Right.
Instead, their beliefs, their biases, their actions actively shape that reality. It creates feedback loops.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like, if enough investors believe a stock is going up, they buy it. Their buying pushes the price up, which then seems to validate their initial belief, so more people buy in.
Creating a self-reinforcing cycle, a bubble.
Exactly, a positive feedback loop leading to a potential bubble. Or it can work the other way, creating a crash. It challenges the traditional idea of markets always finding a neat equilibrium.
So he wasn't just analyzing fundamentals, he was analyzing the market's perception of the fundamentals and how that perception would change things.
You've got it. He was looking for those gaps between perception and reality, understanding the psychology, the feedback loops, and then betting big when he thought that gap was about to snap shut.
Which directly fed into his global macro trading style.
Right. Big, highly leveraged bets based on analyzing economies, politics, currencies, interest rates on a global scale, but always through that lens of reflexivity, looking for those imbalances driven by flawed perceptions.
He had that famous quote, something like, "It's not about being right or wrong, but how much you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong."
That sums it up perfectly. It's about conviction, managing risk, and sizing your bets accordingly. His approach was this unique, mixed, hard analysis, reading political signals, market sentiment, and frankly, a good dose of intuition. Part science, part art, maybe?
A visionary insight, perhaps?
Right, yeah.
And that blend led to some massive wins, but also some pretty significant losses, too. Right? You don't make those kinds of bets without risk.
Absolutely not. The most famous win, the one everyone talks about, is Black Wednesday, 1992.
Ah, yes, the man who broke the Bank of England. What actually happened there?
Okay, so back then, the British pound was pegged to other European currencies in the European exchange rate mechanism, the ERM. It was meant to keep exchange rates stable. Soros believed the pound was overvalued within that system, that the UK economy couldn't sustain that high rate, especially against the strong German mark. He basically bet that the UK government wouldn't be able to defend the pound's value indefinitely.
He bet big.
Massively. He shorted the pound, betting its value would fall. The market pressure, partly fueled by his actions, became immense.
And the UK government blinked.
They did. They were forced to pull the pound out of the ERM, and its value tumbled. Soros's fund reportedly made around US $1 billion. It cemented his reputation, almost mythologized him.
An incredible demonstration of his theory in action.
Yeah.
But for balance, he didn't always get it right.
Oh, definitely not. It's crucial to remember that. He lost big sometimes. For example, US $800 million on Japanese stocks just before the 1987 Black Monday crash.
Ouch.
Yeah. And another US $600 million betting against the yen in '94. And then an estimated US $2 billion loss related to the Russian financial crisis in 1998.
So, huge wins, but also staggering losses. It underlines the sheer risk involved.
Absolutely. Even with his insights, the market could still hand out painful lessons, which probably informed his next big strategic move.
Which was?
In 2011, closing the quantum fund to outside investors.
Right. Why did he do that?
Well, it basically converted it into a family office, managing only his family's wealth. A big driver was likely the new regulations coming in after the 2008 crisis, like the Dodd-Frank Act in the US.
Ah, more reporting, more compliance burdens.
Exactly. As a family office, he could operate with more privacy, more flexibility, outside that tighter regulatory net for hedge funds managing external money.
Makes sense. But finance is only one side of the Soros story, isn't it? His philanthropy and activism are just as significant, maybe even more so now.
I'd say so. And this is where you really see his philosophical ideas about open societies put into practice. It actually started quite early.
How early?
1979. He began funding scholarships for Black South Africans under apartheid. That focus on human rights, on challenging closed systems, was there from the beginning.
And that evolved into?
The Open Society Foundations, or OSF, which became this huge global network.
Funding all sorts of initiatives, right? Supporting democracy in Eastern Europe after the Berlin Wall fell, setting up the Central European University.
Exactly. Promoting democratic governance, human rights, independent media, education, public health, a massive range of activities aimed at fostering those open societies Popper wrote about.
The scale of the giving is just mind-boggling.
It really is. The sources say by 2025 he donated over US $32 billion total, with nearly US $15 billion already distributed through the foundation.
That's more than half his original fortune, reportedly over 64%. That's an incredible level of commitment.
Almost unparalleled, really, putting his money where his mouth is, you could say.
And he's received recognition for it.
Oh, yes. Things like the Presidential Medal of Freedom Britannica notes that for 2025, multiple Nobel Peace Prize nominations. And he was very active, very vocal, supporting democratic transitions in the former Soviet bloc.
But alongside the praise, there's also been intense criticism and controversy. We need to address that too.
Absolutely. It's impossible to talk about Soros without acknowledging it. His funding of progressive causes, especially in the US and Europe, has made him a major target for criticism, particularly from conservative and nationalist groups.
And a lot of that criticism veers into conspiracy theories.
Unfortunately, yes. Many of the attacks employ conspiracy theories, and it's important to note, often carry disturbing anti-Semitic tropes and undertones. It's a significant feature of the discourse surrounding him.
That's a really crucial context point. He's also faced criticism for his financial activities, right?
Right.
Not just the philanthropic side.
Yes, particularly around currency crises, like the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Some governments and critics accused him of exacerbating those crises for profit through his speculative trading.
So it's complex, praise for his philanthropy, but criticism for both his political funding and his past market actions.
Exactly. And our aim here is just to lay out these different facets, the criticisms and theories as they exist, factually, without taking aside ourselves. You need the whole picture.
Definitely. So, bringing us up to today, 2025. What's the picture now? He's 95 years old.
Still a very significant figure. His estimated net worth is around US $7.2 billion as of May 2025.
And Soros Fund Management.
Still operating as that family office we talked about, based in New York, managing a substantial amount, roughly US $25 billion in assets. So the financial engine he built is still very much active.
And Soros himself, is he still involved day to day?
He's certainly reduced his direct role, naturally, but reports suggest he still consults on global policy, supports social causes through OSF, and advocates for those open society principles. His influence, even indirectly, definitely endures.
He really embodies that intersection of finance, philosophy, and global activism.
He does.
So if we try to pull all these threads together, George Soros, it's quite a journey.
It really is.
You have the Holocaust survivor whose early life forged this deep awareness of societal risk.
Then the philosopher student at LSE, absorbing Popper's ideas that would shape everything.
Then the financial innovator, creating reflexivity theory, building quantum fund.
The legendary market mover of Black Wednesday.
And the massive, sometimes controversial philanthropist pouring billions into his vision of an open society. It's a lot to hold in one person.
Absolutely. His story shows how personal history, intellectual ideas, financial boldness, and strong philosophical beliefs can combine to make a huge global impact, an impact that, yes, sparks debate. He saw markets differently as mirrors of human psychology and acted on it.
It's a powerful narrative. One person, shaped by history, shaping markets and societies in return. It definitely makes you think about the power and the responsibilities that come with that kind of wealth and influence.
Which leads to a final thought, perhaps, for you listening. Soros's life really pushes us to ask, how do individuals with such immense resources and strong philosophies navigate that line, sometimes a very fine line between influencing markets and influencing the direction of societies?
And what does that interplay mean for the future, both for global finance and for philanthropy?
Definitely something to ponder.
A lot to think about, indeed. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the very complex life and legacy of George Soros. We hope you feel better informed, maybe a little challenged. We'll catch you next time.